You are watching CIOTV by Enterprise IT World, a production of Accent Infomedia.
Thanks for the great introduction. It's been a pleasure to be here. I am Irshad Saifi. I'm working as a Director IT and Digitization for Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, which is a law firm in the country. And I'm also a Stanford lead alumni, Stanford seat consultant. It's an honor for me to be here, with the great lovely audience, plus esteemed panel members. We'll be having a very interesting discussion today, which is how the artificial intelligence plus all the emerging technologies can have a positive impact on the business that we all have. Let me begin with the example. I was having a conversation with one of my alumni member today in the morning. She is a MD in one of the hospitals in the America. We were having a normal conversation. And then what she told me was that of late, she has been learning about artificial intelligence, data analytics, and all the emerging technologies that we can think about. And that actually raises my eyebrows as to a doctor, why would she be learning all of these technologies? What she told me was that, look, Irshad, AI is really here. It is going to stay. Healthcare is one of the domains where AI is going to have a very positive impact. And if we do not embrace artificial intelligence, it's not that AI will cut our jobs, but people who embraces the artificial intelligence into their professions, whether they are doctor, lawyer, engineers, whoever it is, it's certainly going to increase their efficiency and productivity, which is quite inspiring for at least me to know about it. Otherwise, we were all thinking that it is the IT people who are really learning artificial intelligence, and they want to make a lot of changes in the respective industries. So with this, let me first introduce the panel here. We have got Alok, who is a CIO in MedTech. We have Manoj Gupta, who is the head IT and IS in Indus. And then we have got Kumar. Rajesh Pandita. He's a CIO with Specialty Chemicals Manufacturing Group. So it's a great panel. Let's start with Alok. Alok, the example that I was just giving is directly related to the healthcare. So just wanted to understand from you, what do you think about the artificial intelligence, automation, and all of these new age technologies? How positive it will have the impact on the industry from the industry perspective, say down the line after 5 years? And are there anything that you think we as in India per se would be able to take a leapfrog in this particular industry using the AI and other technologies? And I'll just give you the example, like, for instance, in UPI, we have actually gone and done the leapfrog. So similarly, in the industry that you operate, by the virtue of adopting these technologies, your views on the next 5 years, plus anything that you foresee you'll be able to do leapfrog.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Irshad, for setting up the stage actually for me by giving a very good example of healthcare. And I really like, okay, if you ask me, like, okay, healthcare industry, particularly the provider side industry, healthcare has got like, okay, provider industry and then pharma and payer. So provider side industry, actually, it is the least, basically IT maturity is not there. It is basically, unfortunately, we could not implement IT properly in healthcare area. In hospitals, if you see, mostly they have implemented only the billing part, and whatever is the billing part or something, registration, billing, all these things. That is not enough. That is not healthcare. That is basically for any business, it is like this. So now actually, earlier, I was there like, let me introduce myself first. Actually, currently I'm working as a Chief Information Officer for MedTech. Basically, it is a US-based AI company, and basically they are working into conversion of the unstructured data to structured data. that type of AI, and then basically make use of this particular structured data for various purposes, like, okay, for the patient benefit, for the doctor's benefit, for the hospital benefit, for the business benefit, everything. So, and prior to this, I was CIO for the hospital, like, okay, JP Hospital and Yatharth Hospital for around 10 years. So basically, we, in the hospital, it was very difficult to implement EMR kind of hospital. Basically, when I say EMR, the meaning of that is basically when the patient comes to the hospital, that time actually that is the point when actually he comes with the problem. So if you want to gather the information about his problem, then that is the particular time you can mention. You can capture the information. Unfortunately, doctor never used the EMR. They don't want to use paper and pen only. So that information is captured in the form of prescription, but it is lost basically. It is not being used properly after at the nursing station and other places. It is not being used. So that was the problem we were facing. And the problem was very genuine. If you see from the doctor's point of view, doctor would like to have, talk to the patient, have some eye-to-eye contact, have some communication with him, verbal and non-verbal communication both, and then record that into the prescription, and then keep it ready. At that particular point of time, he cannot basically see the computer and then start writing EMR and all. So that was the basically bigger problem. I faced this problem for around 10 years because my objective was coming into healthcare is that only, like, okay, well, let us make use of. But basically, then I came across. So, and if you see in the hospital, actually, most of the data is unstructured. And it is there lying in the piece of paper, in the speech form, or in that. So what is required now? Basically, convert this particular unstructured data into structured data. And there is a standard, basically, a healthcare IT standard. HL7 standards are there. Basically, HL7 layer, 7th layer, basically. 7th layer basically means the application layer. In the earlier days, we call it application layer. So HL7 data is there. So you can convert this unstructured data into HL7 and then transfer the data to EMR. You can create the EMR. Those who are into a healthcare industry will understand if you have the data in the HL7 format, then you can do whatever you want. Basically, you can generate EMR. You can transfer that data to the pharmacy to give the medicine. You can transfer that data to the basically IP if the patient is admitted to see that, okay, whether the patient, the data, medicine administration is proper or not. You can transfer this into the lab orders. And then, so these are, and then you can basically create the complete history into this in the form of EMR. So if you ask me, like, okay, we have basically started the IT implementation with the help of AI only. Otherwise, we could not implement the IT into the hospital because of that. It's because this technology was not available. I used to say earlier that, okay, that technology has not yet come, which helps doctor into this. People were laughing actually, what are you saying? Like everywhere, banking industry, everywhere, Aadhaar card and everything we have done it, implemented everything, UPI and all. But why are you saying it is not? I said it is fact actually. So now AI has been implemented. AI is basically, in the IT is a part of EIT. It's very important. Basically, if you ask me, 60 to 70% is AI, and rest of the thing is IT. So now it is there. Sanjay, can you, that picture actually I have given it. So actually I would like to just say that, okay, how have we implemented this particular thing into this? Basically, we have a product actually called data recognition pair, doctor pair, which basically converts the prescription, medical prescription, doctor prescription to the EMR, real EMR. Real EMR, when you say, like, okay, it means, okay, output is EMR. But inside actually the complete data is converted into HL7, and this particular data is transferred to the pharmacy, is transferred to the lab order, is transferred to everything. So the benefit is, like, okay, the patient benefit is patient can see the complete EMR, which is basically readable. the doctor handwriting, people laugh.
Yeah.
you know the problem of doctor handwriting. It is very difficult to understand. Even pharmacists only can understand.
Yeah.
So we thought when pharmacists can understand this, why can't AI understand this? Right? That was the logic. It is, but the doctor has not written something. So basically, our AI tool ensure that the complete medicine, complete lab terminology, complete medical terminology, whatever has been written, basically background there is a dictionary. If you ask me, that complete AI is based on very, very old technology. I think you may be aware, like, okay, statistics and all are being used there. So it converts into that, and then actually it transfers the data to the lab, to the pharmacy. So the benefit is, nowadays actually when doctor writes the prescription, it goes to, patient takes the prescription and go out of the hospital because already he was waiting here for a longer period. Let us go back to the, and then we will get the medicine. So benefit to the hospital is immediately before the patient leaves the doctor chamber, the structured data will go to the pharmacy. And the pharmacy, you will get a message from the pharmacist, you will get a message that, okay, your medicines are ready, you can come and collect it.
Interesting.
And so this is the way actually IT has been, AI has been used, is going to be useful for this industry.
Yeah. So it will actually cut down the entire timeline.
Entire timeline.
One of the example, as I was saying, I was speaking to my friend this morning. What she told me in one of the hospital and diagnostic center that happens in the United States is, when you go to that diagnostic center, say if you are doing a urine test, so you go to that particular room wherein you will go and urinate. There, the moment you urinate, they have got the sensors and devices on that pot itself. By the time you come out of that room, within few minutes you will get a report. So imagine, the report that we get today, which takes about 8 to 10 hours or maybe next day, that is now started to happen in 5 minutes. So that's the potential, like what you have said. I think there's a huge amount of potential and use cases coming from across the world.
Yeah, basically,
You have the screen
so
here.
just I would like to, I don't know whether it is visible or not. See, our basically, I think it is not visible. Is it visible properly? It is little faint. Anyway,
it's okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think
so
you can
basically what we are saying here, earlier when I was CIO, I used to say, doctor, please start using EMR. But now I say, don't use EMR. You focus on the patient care with this, and we will make sure that immediately after writing the prescription, it will be scanned, and after scanning, it will be converted into EMR, and at the same time, it will go to the lab. Before patient leaves the doctor room, again, it will go to the pharmacy. It will be ready, the prescription will be ready. Same thing actually is going to happen. So the business, actually, if you ask me, the revenue leakage for the hospital is very, very high.
Yeah.
Because I know, because I was into management position, so I know the maximum profit, hospital gets maximum profit from the pharmacy only.
Perfect.
I mean, the bottom line is maximum from the pharmacy only. So and there is a revenue leakage in that area, then actually you are losing basically the profitability as well as business. Sure. So you improve the business, for the hospital also it is beneficial, doctor also it is beneficial, and more important is patient also it is very, very beneficial.
Perfect.
When you have everything, you can see the charts also. This is one example for the OPD only. Other examples are there for the IP, for the lab record, everything is there for that. So this is the way actually IT is going to help.
No, thank you so much, Alok. This is quite insightful. I really appreciate it. I think let's move on quickly to Manoj. Manoj, similar question, the same question for telecommunication industry. What do you, again, same question. What are the impact that you are seeing for the artificial intelligence and all of these latest technologies to have in the telecom industry? And plus, is there any area that you think we can potentially, as a country, we can leapfrog?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Someone at the back, if you can raise the hand to figure out if I'm audible or not. Good, great. Thank you, Sanjay and Sanjeev, for the invitation. Irshad, is always pleasure to see you and meet you. Hi, Alok. Hi, Rajesh, once again. Artificial intelligence, Gen AI, or we talk about the IoT. These are the major emerging or next generation technologies we are going to discuss here. They have been, as Alok rightly said, like they have been with us from a long time. Maybe this is the time we are talking about this technology in detail. So in fact, we have started implementing this technology in a big way now. Whether I talk about the operational efficiencies, the cut down of mundane tasks, repetitive stuff, so AI is helping us. And
any examples you would want to share with the audience here?
Like in fact, from the IT parlance, I would say like there are numerous technologies like AIOps, AISM. In fact, GPT in different forms is there. We are using the different co-pilots. I won't name the OEM and Chronicle. So a lot of stuff is there, and that is the need of the hour. We have to implement, and that is not coming from the IT or technology. That is coming from the boardroom. That we need this. For us, the only challenge is that first we have to present the right use cases. What would be the ROI? How we would be able to reduce the cost, increase the revenue? These are the few things. For that, we need to talk with the cross-functional teams, the leadership, before we start investing on them. And as far you asked the second question from the leap-forward point of view, IoT. In fact, in my organization also, we are investing huge on IoT, converting almost 1 lakh plus tower sites IoT enabled. The volume of data is huge. It's really huge. So with IoT, what we are going to achieve, real-time analytics, the predictive analytics, the health of these sites. In fact, one of the use cases is supply chain optimization as well. So these are the few use cases which we are planning to do, and we are moving in that direction.
Thanks, Manoj. This is really great. Let's move on to Rajesh. Rajesh, you are from specialty chemicals and manufacturing industry.
Yes, please.
Similar question. What are the use cases that you currently have or working on, and what are the use cases that you think in the next 5 years you will have, which will actually help reshape the organization from AI standpoint using AI? And is there anything, again, from a leapfrog standpoint that can really set us apart from others?
Okay, thank you, Irshad. Obviously, I've been a late entrant into this panel discussion. Nonetheless, thanks to the organizers letting me be a panelist on this discussion. Quickly, I come from manufacturing background, but I have actually served multinationals in the oil and gas engineering sector as such. So when we talk about, say, IoT for that matter, it's nothing new in terms of what has been used traditionally and in a conventional matter in the oil and gas fields. So you would have known the likes of SCADA, wherein across large tracts of land or areas you essentially have your SCADA networks, you acquire data, but most of these are essentially conventional instrumentation devices. So whether these are temperature sensors, whether these are essentially, I would say, pressure transducers, all of this data was analog data, but still got received and collected by devices or systems known as distributed control systems. Until recently, all of this data was being used within the organizations for doing something that we currently do, which is doing some kind of production planning, doing some kind of preventive maintenance in the organization or in the plant. So all of this data has been actually used. The only difference that the new age technologies brings in now is that you have those analog devices being replaced by the new age technologies, or what you call as IoTs or IIoTs, right? Which essentially enable you to not only connect to your local networks, but have the capability, if enabled, to share and post this data into central databases, mostly in the cloud, with embedded technologies already available, or more than technologies, frameworks already available. So something that I would talk about is like a HoloLens, right? Wherein you could essentially, we actually did this in some other company I was served earlier, wherein we brought in the HoloLens to essentially enable technicians to do remote management of installations, right? And without actually touching the devices. So you could do remote support the way we have been used in IT, but again, you have to log into servers and do similar kind of things. PC Anywhere was a tool which was used 20 years back, but today it's available to everyone and anyone, right? So these are the technologies that are helping, but with those technologies like AI, there's a deeper thing coming through. When you talked about, and you gave the example, why is a doctor actually picking up and wanting to learn AI, something that strikes me is, while I was in one of the conferences in Mumbai, we came across a startup incubated at IIT Mumbai. And they were doing a deep learning around CT scans. What they produced was, and I just picked up, although the numbers may not be right, I learned there is, for every 1 lakh people in India, or population in India, there's only one radiologist, which essentially brings it to a level of around 20,000 in all. And you can probably know how many, I would say, hospitals you have in the country. So there's a real shortage of radiologists in the country. Now, if you have situations in the middle of the night, you have most of the times accidents and maybe other situations which necessitate and need a quick review of the CT scan, right? This company claimed that using their deep tech technology, they could actually bring in almost 95% of accuracy to reading the real scan, right? And secondly, they also made a claim that if you showed the same scan to the radiologist 6 months later, it is likely that he will come up with some additional information or lose the one that he had already described to you six months earlier, right? But this system did not have this kind of fallacy. That is where you can potentially see a lot of technology amendment actually getting into hospitals and healthcare for that matter, right? So I talked about the oil and gas. So in the manufacturing sector, that is where I come and belong to now. Most times we have these IoTs enablement, but yes, when you set up a plant, usually it comes from say large providers, large licensees who actually commit that the plant can work for maybe 30 years or more, right? And over a period of time, they actually age, right? So when they age out, even if you need new technologies like the new sensors coming through, it is potentially difficult to embed them into the systems. Now, what do the companies lose if they don't adapt AI at the right stage, right? Something that brings in or gives you an capability is doing something what Manoj already talked about, predictive and preventive analytics. Many companies are using these sensors, embedding them into their environments such that they can pick up information and they can enhance their productivity while essentially reducing their, I would say, the downtimes, right? Many times there are shutdowns of plants, right? These are necessarily done to overhaul or take care of the systems. But then if you have sensors around flywheels, and you can actually determine which of the flywheels is going bad, you can potentially replace them before time, right? So these are few things that come to my mind when we talk about AI adaptation in manufacturing sector. And when you talk about, say, Gen AI or GPT, whatever you have, today I've been using it for some time, but mostly it is currently limited to making presentations, not wanting to create your own data or information and actually picking up something from someone who has already done it. But what is a differentiator that probably only humans can put into it is the emotions. So even if I put up the right prompt to any of the systems today, it will not have the emotions that I actually expect from what I perceive, right? So that is where the human touch around it has to be taken care of. The other issues would also be around the genuineness of the data. It again picks up data from somewhere around, right? As I said, yesterday I picked up and attempting to find out how many radiologists we have in the country. One of them stated 14,000 in all. The other stated one radiologist for every 1 lakh people in the country today, which would make it 14,000. So which of this is right, I'm not too sure. But when you have presentations being made out with this kind of fallacies or data, you're not too sure what is relevant, right? So it's important that when we actually use these technologies, we do not just pick it up and just do it for the sake of delivery. It is important that you vet it. It is obviously important that you know the source of the data. And obviously with all the ethics that is happening around AI management for that matter, it's also important that although there are no regulations yet, US Department of NICST is attempting to put in safe, Safe Institute. They call it a United States Artificial State Institute, Safety Institute. They are trying to come up with new regulations around it. I presume with those, you will probably have better regulations around it. For now, it is just go out, play it, adapt it. Regulations will follow when we actually get to know what is causing us problems. It's like data privacy. Everyone asking for data from us. It's only now that we have the DPDPA Act coming through, which focuses on essentially the privacy of people, right? So first capture data, and I presume it is the same with AI as well. Go out, develop systems, and essentially learn from it, but do not stop it. That's probably what I think is the way forward. Every company will essentially have to sometime, the earlier the better, because what I understand today, I'm sure you also use it. Someone talked about the tires. I use a car which has a TPMS. It obviously, as a customer, gives me a better experience. I know beforehand if it has failed, right? Or what is the tire pressure level. I can act early, right? I can even manage my car remotely, or for that matter, smart connectivity today. Everything can be done remotely. It enhances experiences. And sooner or later, manufacturing companies are the ones, and with our intent of being the third largest in the world in terms of GDP, I'm sure, and the thrust on made in India, most of the manufacturing companies will start adapting it early and will sooner or later transform themselves into smart factories. Right? And I'm sure that's going to happen. With the thrust that has happened, if you have to enhance productivity, you have to reduce and enhance the productivity of your systems. I'm sure this is something that has to happen today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rajesh. I think this was such an elaborated response, and you have given us so much insights on it. As far as emotions are concerned for the artificial intelligence, I know Sam Altman and many other global leaders are talking about that in the future, AI will also have emotions. And as far as regulation is concerned, we all have heard it. In the Europe, the AI regulation, they have just come up with the draft, and soon it will become a law. So yeah, interesting area ahead. With the interest of time, let me just do a quick fireside question, and I would request everyone to be very quick there. If you look at the practical implementation of the artificial intelligence today in the enterprise, because I am also one of the CIO who is facing all of the business challenges and technology challenges on a daily basis. If you see to it, there are I would always put them into three categories. AI solutions which are led by the OEMs. Say Microsoft is coming up with Copilot. Adobe has given their Gen AI capability. So there will always be one side of the solution that will come from the OEMs. There would be solutions that no matter what happens, each business is unique, each industry is unique, hence you will have to go and create your own solutions. One of the challenges that I have seen so far, none of the solution, be it the in-house or be it the solutions that are available in the market, really gives us a comfort wherein people can close their eyes. If I were to talk about my industry, any of the technology cannot be 100% relied upon for a fact that my lawyers can close the eyes, use the AI, put it onto the respective contract, and then they can be assured that they will not go wrong. There's a lot of hallucination as we speak. There is a lot of data security concerns. There is a lot of fake that is out there in the market. So I just wanted to understand from each one of your industry, what is that challenge which is prohibiting you not to use Gen AI at this point in time? Let's do a real quick.
Should I?
Yeah.
Quickly?
Please.
Well,
Please.
Well, Gen AI, I think from a user perspective, as an end user, I definitely use it, but we're not adapted in the organization, right? For various reasons. One, I think what happens today is all of this is in the cloud. So the moment, unless it is adapted internally, right, or we have a local implementation or we have a subscription model for it, right, I think you are actually passing on, and we talked about data security, that is what you were actually referring to. You are actually leaking out, or there's a potential leakage by using these technologies, that you are actually moving your internal data, confidential data, into external systems, wherein someone else is trying to use that information to create their own databases or giving you improved version of what you would expect.
Got it.
Right? So unless it's kind of a LinkedIn platform which you actually internally adapt and you give everyone, or a Facebook for the matter, you give everyone the same feel, but this is potentially within the organization, and using the data that you have internally, I presume the data security and privacy issues will prevail, right? And
so you're saying essentially the lack of trust on the LLM models that are there today.
No, it's not about lack of trust. It's about the data you are actually publishing in the open, and you have very little control on it.
Sure.
And again, if the moment you offer these services or advise your colleagues to use these at a personal level, I am fine. But from a company perspective, you never know what is being in the garb of actually getting in, I would say, quick responses, under the garb of getting the right scripts. Fine. So it so happens that you today have a candidate preparing a resume using AI. When you actually meet the people, you realize that there's a complete difference in what you see to what you have, right? So it doesn't seem to match. Someone is unable to talk and unable to converse, but the kind of pitch that has been actually put into the resume somehow does not align, right?
Sure.
So you have these fallacies.
Cool. Manoj, a quick one from you.
So quickly,
I know you're running against the time.
I second Rajesh. Data privacy and protection are the biggest concern areas. The one more angle I would like to add, which Irshad, you and Rajesh both have talked about, that whatever would be the output of Gen AI or automation, the human touch should be there. You simply cannot digest the output like that.
Thank you.
We cannot use we cannot use AI blindly. Actually, there should be some touch point where actually we basically verify whatever are the result of AI, and then that should be basically that should come out. Actually, we cannot blindly use AI, particularly in medical field.
Perfect. So mainly, if I were to conclude, it's all about the trust, the data security, the confidence on the LLM models, and the way the output is being perceived. I think that's the summary, if I were to summarize for everybody here. So with this, I think the time is not allowing us to continue. Otherwise, this was such a great conversation we all were having. I really wish we could continue this conversation. If not here, we'll continue this conversation somewhere else. But this has been a great conversation. You have been such a lovely audience. You all have been such a great panel members here. If there is one wish I could make is to have this audience again and this panel members again. With this, thank you so much, and I wish you all a very happy and enjoyable evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.